Today we are going to review the Zultys MXIE software. MXIE will allow you to maximize productivity in your daily tasks. MXIE will allow you to have customized layouts on an individual preference or an administrative preference, which can be assigned to an individual user or on a group. What that means is if a user has control, you can customize your layouts just by dragging and dropping everything around. Now an administrator can do the same thing, create a profile for each individual user and push it out to them. But that's not really the power of Zultys. The power of Zultys comes in the feature functionality that's built in. The idea behind Zultys was, how do you help increase productivity in today's marketplace? Well, what we feel the ability to do is create a phone system that has all the necessary hardware built in, all designed by one company. So it makes it very, very easy to use, very flexible for your company. So the first function we're going to talk about is the ability to control any telephone on any network. So if I click down here, it's showing a MAC address. If I go to bind to, this is really going to show us how we can work from anywhere and work from everywhere. So if I pick device ID, that can be the MAC address of the telephone. Or if I assign a username to a telephone, I can pick that in here so it'd be quickly accessible. The next is the ability to bind to an external phone. I can control any phone on any network with this software. So if I want to make a phone call while I'm on vacation using my cell phone and I have this piece of software, I can just go into voice call. It will start a phone call on the phone system. It will initiate a call. It will call my cell phone. If I pick up that phone call, it will then grab a line out of my corporate office and give the caller ID for my office versus my cell phone. So it really does allow flexibility when you want to work from anywhere and still have some anonymity about where you're at. I can also bind to a registered contact. I can have 4 contacts loaded for each individual user. So if I had a device for my home phone, a device for an Office 1 phone, an Office 2 phone, they're just easily accessible. I can bind by a call from the device. This is most often used for conference room phones where you don't have a DID and it might not have a MAC address printed on the bottom of it. It would give you a 5-digit extension to dial and it would automatically lock into that telephone and allow you to control that. We can also bind to an internal soft phone. Every single user in Zultys that gets MXIE gets a soft phone. It doesn't matter if it's on a Windows or if it's on Mac or on Linux. We get a soft phone and you have the ability to place and make telephone calls using a USB headset or using a Bluetooth headset that's attached to your PC that supports Bluetooth. So there's a lot of functionality that really does allow you to work from anywhere or work from everywhere that you choose. Now, there's a couple different ways to make a telephone call on Zultys. The traditional way to do it would be to grab your telephone, dial a phone number, and it will go. We can also click on voice call over here. If we click on voice call, it'll allow me to pick and choose numbers that I've recently dialed. I can also go into an address book and pick which number I want to dial. Now, that's convenient, but not as convenient as seeing a user on my phone system, drag them in the middle of my screen, and watching it place that telephone call. So it does give me the option to make and place phone calls that way. I can also right-click on a user and pick and choose a number to call them at. In Bill's case, we see that he has a business and an intercom. So business would ring his telephone on his desk, and intercom would do an off-hook voice announce. But what you'll notice really over here on the right-hand side that's different than your traditional phone system is it's all listed on a per-user basis. Because as another user binds just like I bind, if they bind to their home phone, if I call them at their extension, that extension is actually tied to the user and not to a physical device. So if we were to call Dennis, it may actually ring his home phone versus ringing his desk phone, saving us 30 seconds of ring time. So it does a lot of flexibility on the Zultys phone system. We also have the ability to see a quick call log. So all these items over on the left-hand side here, for today's purposes, all the action's going to happen in the middle of the screen. So if I click on call log, it'll bring up my call log. I have the ability to see how I want to sort my telephone calls. I can sort them by date. I can also click on this open icon and it will sort by icon. In this case, missed calls came up first. Those calls went into voicemail. If I want to scroll down, I can. if I see a missed call that I want to return very easily on the Zultys phone system, I can right-click and call back. No more having to write the phone number down and figure out what I want to do. So again, very flexible on the Zultys phone system. We also have the ability for visual voicemail. So every single user gets visual voicemail with MXIE. It's the ability to see who left a voicemail. Pick and choose which voicemail you want to listen to first. One of the other great things about MXIE is I have the ability to put a comments field on there. So if I want to use these comments for organizational purposes, I can. Call back on Monday. Now that's just a great reminder for me when I want to call them back. This is also a standard WAV file, so if I want to share this with somebody on the phone system, I can just drag and drop it to an individual user. Once I do, I can send it instantly. I can also record a preamble. Very flexible on the Zultys phone system. So the voicemail will be included. Zultys, very unique in the industry, also has a fax server that's included with every single bundle that you buy. So it's the ability to send or receive faxes directly from your desktop. So in this case, I don't believe I have any incoming faxes, but if we go down to sent faxes, you'll note that I have several faxes that I've sent. It's all done through a print driver, so very easy to send. You can see if a fax has failed. If you right-click on a fax, you can actually show a fax receipt. So if you're in an insurance industry where sometimes timing is important with faxes, you can actually show a fax receipt. Comes up just like a standard fax receipt, and you'd be able to print that. Again, just like your voicemails, they're just drag and drop once I've sent them if I want to share them within the phone system. So very easy and very flexible. Let's talk a little bit about the users on the right-hand side and communication. So we talked a little about placing a phone call. What if in this case we wanted to get a quick message to Chad who's not on the telephone? Well, let's right-click on Chad and we can send an instant message. Chad, doing a demo. How are you? So we send it to Chad. We can see that the message has been saved. If he's on his mobile device, it'll do a push notification to him as well. Now at the top of this, you can see that I can sort by days, week, month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year worth of instant messages. So we can go all the way back to a year on our desktop and see how he's doing, and we did that on June 25th of 2013. So very, very flexible, very, very powerful. Our instant message software is 256-bit encryption. You do have the ability to archive instant messaging and keep it as long as you want. Now it's contained on the phone system unless you want to connect through a Jabber server to an outside party. That's instant messaging to an individual user. Within my buddies list, I also have the ability to right-click an instant message to an entire group. So in this case, channel support, it will allow me to quick access to communicate with everybody. So if we wanted to see how everybody was doing for the day, we can. Now you'll notice that it was saved for everybody. Everybody looks like they're offline right now. So very easy to do mass communication. Now, what I always recommend a company does is creates a list of everybody on the phone system. So if the technical was everybody on the phone system, because everybody can be listed in multiple buddy lists, you can just right-click and send an instant message. We also have the ability to send a voicemail to everybody on the phone system as well. So very easy to push out notification of anniversaries, birthdays, holidays, upcoming days where you may want to close due to snow, or sunny days where you want to go spend it out on a beach. But very nice and very easy to do mass communication with every user on your phone system. Now, one of the things that most companies always dread is doing a conference call. How do you do a conference call on a traditional phone system? Well, that would normally be conference, dial number, press conference, dial number, press conference twice, spin around, touch your ceiling, and you hope your conference call gets set. With Zultys, there's several different ways to do it. First, I can do a drag and drop while I'm on a telephone call. But what I find more productive than anything is the ability to schedule a conference call. I have the ability to pick and choose when I want to have a conference call. We can label it whatever we want. The number at the top is a password into that conference bridge. So it is a password-protected conference bridge. This is generated by the phone system every single time. We can do it once or we can do it ongoing. We can select by date. The great thing about this is it's a calendar, so it's very easy to pick and choose when we're going to do our conference call. We then have the ability to pick and choose the time we're going to do it. We also have the ability to pick by duration. Now, the duration won't end the conference call. It's just used as an integration into Outlook to pick and choose how long that conference call is going to block off within your calendar. We can also do web collaboration. Zultys has an appliance called MX Meeting that allows you to do web collaboration. So for a one-time fee, you have the ability to do web collaboration for up to 100 people and a conference call for 200 people. Now that's pretty unique, and it has a great ROI when buying the Zultys phone system. You should ask your channel partner about it today. We can also do save and invite. Once I want to have the conference set, how do I get that pushed out? Do I invite via email? Do I invite via IM or via clipboard? In this case, let's send an email out, invite out via email. What it's going to do is it'll open up my Outlook. You'll notice down here, once I get into my Outlook, it's actually going to pull it's going to ask me if I want to integrate to my Outlook. I say yes. It'll actually pull up a calendar invite for me, and it's just a general Outlook calendar invite, so very easy to customize. So if we wanted to send it out to Joe Demo, we can. You'll note that everything's included in here. You can work with your channel partner to pick and choose how this looks when you send it out. So in this case, we'll put information below. And there you go. We've scheduled a conference call. So very nice to be able to send out a quick invite. Once it comes time for that conference call, it's very easy to go in and start it. One of the great things about that on Zultys is once that conference call is going, you have individual call control over people. You can mute people individually, or you can hang up on them individually when doing a conference call. So very easy. So let's see what it looks like to create a conference call while we're on the fly. So let's make a phone call to a cell phone. Once we place that call out to somebody, if they answer that phone call, it's very easy. We can see what's going on in the phone system today. So while we're on that call, if we want to create a conference call, we just right-click, Create Conference. So now we're in the conference. You can see that individually we can mute those people or we can hang up on them. If I want to add somebody into the conference call, it's just a very easy drag and drop into the conference call. We would be able to see how many people, everybody in that conference call. On the Zultys, you can have up to 30 people on a conference call if you're in an appliance-based phone system. If you're in a VMware or virtual environment, you have the ability to have 60 people within a conference call. Now, please keep in mind you have to have those telephone lines to support it. One of the great features in Zultys that we haven't talked about yet is call recording. There's a couple different ways to do call recording on Zultys. We can record every single phone call that comes into the phone system, or we can do an ad hoc call recording. Now, Zultys does their ad hoc call recording different than anybody in the industry. The way most people work on a 60-minute phone call, if you press call record at minute 30, it is going to start recording and give you a 30-minute phone call that will be saved into your voicemail box. The way Zultys works is there's essentially a DVR built into the phone system. So on that same 60-minute phone call at minute 59, if you press record, it will go back and capture that entire phone call and put it into a call record box versus your voicemail box. So again, they're very, very easy to control. So in this case, I want to let the call go for a little bit, so we're a minute and 36 seconds. If we press record, it'll go back and capture that entire phone call. Once we end the phone call, even if it's a conference call and it's recorded that entire thing, we can close it and it'll save it, and you'll notice we'll get a little pop-up as soon as that call recording goes into our voicemail box. So again, there's a lot of flexibility in the Zultys software. One of the other things we'll talk about today is the ability to have call handling rules. It's the ability to be found by who you want to be found when you want to be found. The way a traditional phone system worked is once you go out of the office and you want to forward calls to a cell phone, you just forward all calls to your cell phone. The way Zultys works, we have the ability to pick and choose how we're going to be found. So they're very simple rules. I'll show you how to create one. You can pick and choose when I use a phone if I don't answer for any incoming call. For me, I always pick any incoming call because it allows me to then filter it out from there. We can do it based on presence. So if you're not taking a telephone call, which in my world is anything but available, and the call comes from a specific person, and we can do it based on caller ID, we can do it on any internal source, any external source. I can also pick an extension number on the phone system. So in this case, it happens to be Zultys' CEO. So anytime a call comes, I'm not available or taking a call, and it comes from extension 111, it could be based on a certain date range, a certain time of day within the date range, on a specific day of the week. Let's say I wanted to only take phone calls Monday through Saturday. You can just take phone calls Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday. In my case, it's typically Monday through Sunday. We can do it based on holidays in the phone system, or if you have multiple locations and you want to log into different offices, you have the ability to be flexible with that. So in this case, let's say anytime we get a phone call from our CEO, what do we want the phone call to do? Do we want to forward it to somebody else inside the phone system? Do we want to forward it directly into a voicemail, and we can pick and choose a specific voicemail? We can do a find me. Zultys is very flexible. You have the ability to be found at 4 different numbers, 4 different times, so that's a total of 16 telephone numbers. So I can add in a cell phone, vacation home, and you can pick and choose whether they call it one individually at a time, or you can ring 4 in a group. So if you want to be found, you have the ability to be found. You also have the ability to reject telephone calls. Now, I'm not saying this would be used for a CEO, but this could be used for telemarketers. We'll automatically reject that telephone call coming into the phone system. Very handy. Again, it's the ability to be found by who you want to be found, when you want to be found. Again, it's caller ID, it's date-based. It just allows you to be flexible based on you as an individual user. As an administrator, you would also have the access to look at everybody's individual call handling rules, or push out a call handling rule that would be generalized. So if you wanted to have it ring at somebody's extension and then ring at their cell phone and then come back to the corporate voicemail, as an administrator, you would have the ability to set that up on an individual basis. Now, today we've gone over a brief overview of the Zultys software. There are many more features on the Zultys software. If you have any questions, please tell your channel partner